Steelers Nation, what's going on, family? We're back with another exclusive update straight out of Pittsburgh, and this one is a doubleheader. We're talking a potential Nick Chubb signing and major tension surrounding George Pickens. Listen, this team is doing everything it can to level up. Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin are working behind the scenes, trying to bring real results in 2025. Whether it's improving the run game or dealing with wide receiver drama, the Steelers are grinding to get back to greatness. So if you bleed black and gold and want this team back on top, smash that like button right now and don't forget to subscribe. It tells us you're riding with us all the way through the highs and the drama, and trust me, we've got both today. Let's start with this one. Nick Chubb to the Steelers? That's the idea being floated around by Curt Popejoy of Steelers Wire. And honestly, it's not as far-fetched as it sounds. Let's talk about it. So here's where we're at right now. The Steelers still haven't figured out the quarterback situation. Aaron Rodgers hasn't signed yet. And if that doesn't happen, we're most likely rolling into the season with Mason Rudolph under center. Now look, I know that's not what most fans want to hear. But while the passing game is still a question, mark, the Steelers are leaning into their ground game. Hard. Last year, Pittsburgh averaged 127.4 rushing yards per game, almost cracking the top 10 in the NFL. And with new offensive coordinator Arthur Smith at the helm, the run-first identity is going to be the backbone of this team. That's why in the draft, the Steelers went out and grabbed Iowa running back Caleb Johnson in the 3rd round, pairing him with Jaylen Warren, who's been one of the most efficient backs in the league the past 2 years. But here's the thing. If you really want to go all in on the run game, why not bring in a proven veteran like Nick Chubb? The man is still unsigned. He's coming off injury, yes, but he's been posting workout videos this offseason that show he's grinding to get back. And if you've followed his career, you know what he brings to the table. Vision, power, breakaway ability, and leadership. Curt Popejoy put it perfectly. He said, if he's healthy, Chubb would be the most talented running back on the Steelers. Roster. Pittsburgh is committed to the run, and Chubb, alongside Warren and Johnson, would make a formidable trio. And you know what? He's not wrong. Imagine this setup. Warren as the change of pace and 3rd down back, Caleb Johnson as the developmental power runner, and Nick Chubb as the steady, short yardage and red zone option. You rotate all three, keep them fresh, and run defenses into the ground. It takes pressure off whoever is playing quarterback. And let's be real, this offense needs that safety net. Now I get the concerns. Chubb is coming off a major injury. You can't hand him a full workload right now. And he'd probably have to take a secondary role, which could cause some tension if he still sees himself as a RB1. But Pittsburgh isn't looking for a bell cow. They're looking for depth, leadership, and experience. And if Chubb accepts that, roll. This signing could be a win-win. Now let's switch gears, because while the Steelers are thinking about adding talent in the backfield, they're also dealing with serious issues at wide receiver, specifically George Pickens. You've probably heard bits and pieces of the rumors, trade talks, frustration, contract drama. But folks, it's deeper than that. Let me walk you through what's really going on. This offseason, Pickens was nearly moved. The Dallas Cowboys reportedly called, and the Steelers listened. Other teams were interested too. But no offer was strong enough to convince Pittsburgh to pull the trigger. NFL reporter James Palmer didn't hold back. He said, it has not gone well behind the scenes at all between George Pickens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. His time in Pittsburgh, in a lot of people's minds, is limited. That's not smoke. That's fire. For now, the Steelers are keeping Pickens. And it makes sense. You just brought in DK Metcalf. You've got to see what it looks like to have both of them on the field. Otherwise, you're right back where you were last year, one-dimensional and easy to shut down. But let's not pretend the situation is stable. Pickens is entering the final year of his rookie deal, and he's eligible for an extension. The team doesn't want to give him one. Why? Reports say it's because he hasn't shown enough growth on or off the field. And that's what sparked the trade rumors in the first place. According to reports, Pickens thought about requesting a trade. He was that frustrated, but ultimately he decided to stay because he loves playing under Mike Tomlin. That says something, doesn't it? Still, his trust in the organization is shaken, and when your wide receiver doesn't believe in the quarterback, the play calling, or his role in the offense, you've got a problem. So here's the likely outcome. Pickens stays in Pittsburgh for 2025, plays out his contract, and walks in free agency. Unless he has a breakout year, and unless the team decides he's worth re-signing, it's over after this season. But there is a silver lining. If Pickens signs a big deal elsewhere in 2026, the Steelers could get a third-round compensatory pick in 2027. That's not nothing. But is it worth losing a dynamic young receiver? Steelers Nation, we're staring down two major decisions. Should the Steelers take a chance on Nick Chubb and build the league's most physical backfield? And what should they do with George Pickens? Hold on and hope, or trade him now while the value's still high? Both decisions impact the future of this offense. You've got one move that could stabilize your run game and one player who could destabilize your locker room if things get worse. The Pittsburgh Steelers are in a strange spot. Not a bad one, but definitely not a comfortable one either, when it comes to the quarterback position heading into 2025. Right now, this entire franchise is playing the waiting game with four-time MVP Aaron Rodgers, who still hasn't made his decision about whether he'll be suiting up in black and gold this year, or at all. Now, if Rodgers comes to Pittsburgh, there's no debate, he's the guy. He instantly gives the Steelers Super Bowl credibility. But here's the reality. If he retires or signs elsewhere, then the next man up is likely Mason Rudolph. And with all due respect to Rudolph, that is not the level of quarterback play this team needs when you have DK Metcalf and George Pickens out wide. So what does Pittsburgh do if Rodgers says no? Well, that's exactly what we're talking about today. The Steelers are looking at all possible options. They traditionally bring 4 quarterbacks into camp, and right now they've only got 3. Mason Rudolph, rookie Will Howard, and undrafted arm Trace McSorley. So another move is coming. Let's walk through the 5 most intriguing quarterback options that Pittsburgh could realistically pursue. First up is a name some fans may find polarizing, Will Levis. The former second-round pick had a flashy start to his NFL career, lighting up the field in Week 8 of his rookie season with 4 touchdowns and 238 yards. But since then, it's been bumpy. He's dealt with turnovers, injuries, and the overall dysfunction that comes with playing for the Tennessee Titans, one of the NFL's most unstable teams over the past few years. The Titans just used the number 1 overall pick on Cam Ward, which signals the end of the road for Levi's in Nashville. And here's where things get interesting. Levis is still young, he's got arm talent, and he's the type of QB who could benefit massively from a stable, smash-mouth environment like Pittsburgh. With Arthur Smith calling plays and a strong run game supporting him, Levis could thrive. As a high-upside reclamation project, option number 2 is Aiden O'Connell from the Raiders. Now hear me out. This guy is way better than people give him credit for. Drafted in the 4th round of 2023, he's already started 17 NFL games, throwing 20 touchdowns and just 11 interceptions, and doing it behind one of the worst offensive lines and run games in the league. With the Raiders bringing in Geno Smith and drafting Cam Miller, the quarterback room is getting crowded fast. O'Connell is a low-cost, smart football player who could step in and run this Steelers offense competently. He's not flashy, but he's efficient, and sometimes that's exactly what Pittsburgh needs in a backup or transitional starter. Coming in at number 3, a familiar name, Carson Wentz. Last year, he backed up Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City and didn't see much playing time. But we're talking about a former number 2 overall pick who still has a cannon for an arm and real NFL starting experience. Now, let's be honest, he's not the future. But if the Steelers need a bridge QB in case Aaron Rodgers walks away, Wentz might be a decent option. He knows how to manage a locker room, and with Arthur Smith focusing on the ground game, Wentz wouldn't have to win games on his own. That said, don't expect him to be the first choice. Mason Rudolph is still the safer pick at the moment. Jameis Winston. Now this is a wild card. The former #1 overall pick is currently buried in a crowded quarterback room with the Giants. They've got Russell Wilson, rookie Jackson Dart, and Winston as the odd man out. If Pittsburgh wanted to roll the dice, Winston's name will come up. Here's the thing about Jameis. He throws picks, lots of them, but he also throws bombs. The guy can sling it. In fact, he beat the Steelers in 2024, so he clearly still has something in the tank. If Pittsburgh feels desperate for veteran depth and wants someone who can push the ball downfield to DK and Pickens, Winston might just be worth the call. Last but not least, a name Steelers fans might have forgotten about, Ryan Tannehill. He hasn't played since 2023 and hasn't retired either. But here's the kicker. He has history with Arthur Smith from their time in Tennessee, where they made the playoffs and had one of the league's most efficient offenses. He'd come cheap. He knows the system. And he'd have Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren, DK Metcalf, and George Pickens to work with. If you're looking for a low-risk, high-chemistry veteran presence to step in, Tannehill could be the surprise move of the summer. But now I want to hear from you. Should the Steelers sign Nick Chubb and complete the trio with Jaylen Warren and Caleb Johnson? What's your gut feeling on George Pickens? Will he stay, or is this his final season in Pittsburgh? Drop your answers in the comments. I'm going through every single one of them. We're building this community together, and before you go, smash that like button if you want to see the Steelers make smart moves this offseason. And don't forget to subscribe for more exclusive updates, rumors, and deep dives into every decision this team makes. We're here every week breaking it all down, and with the way this offseason's going, you won't want to miss a second. Until next time, here we go, Steelers. Here we go.